LV cavity. This septal encroachment into the alveoli, this may be due to special mitral valve characteristic anterior displacement. You can see this image. This is the normal anatomy of the LV outflow tract. We can see there is a closing of the mitral valve and the LV outflow is clear. But in case of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, this elongated anterior leaflet leads to the dynamic obstruction in the alveoli, left ventricular outflow. Here we can see the LV cavity is also small, and the vacuum effect or the pressure effect or mitral valve anatomy, any of these leads to the obstruction of the alveoli outflow. Here, this portion, this is the end mode of the mitral valve. We can see this is the normal opening of the mitral valve. After that, in the systole, there is an anterior motion of the anterior mitral leaflet. We can see that in the end mode. There is one method, I have found one literature regarding this. This is a method to identify or to diagnose alveotic gradient, quantify alveotic gradient with M mode echocardiography. Here there is a abnormal motion which is quantified by interval from beginning of the SEM. This is interval from beginning of the SEM to the peak of the SEM, septal contact, and the x is the duration of the septal contact. This x is this length. So the multiplication of this into 25 plus 25 leads to this gradient. This alveotic gradient. In this is the IBS. There is also echocardiography of HCM. There is the hypertrophic IBS with aorta. We can see there is a small LV cavity and obstruction of this alveoli. This is the 3-chamber view. This is the base view to identify alveoli obstruction or the gradient. In this, there is a just septal hypertrophy, and this also lead to alveoli obstruction. This is the we can see apical. This is apical HCM. This is a sign. So I don't remember this sign name. But in the cases of apical HCM, there are three things. One, diffuse T wave inversion. The echo pattern will be there is like Patani J. This is apex sign. Sir, I don't remember the name of this sign. Continuous wave comparison of the aortic stenosis and HCM. The shape of the wave is more important in this. The wave of the aortic stenosis will be like without any depression or the mid picking in the systole. But in the HOCM it will be late picking wave. We can compare because in the same patient we could have aortic stenosis, we could have mitral regurgitation wave also, and the HOCM wave also. So the HOCM wave will be late picking, and the mitral stenosis or the aortic stenosis will be picking with the mid systole. And mitral stenosis, it is maybe due to the failure of the normal leaflet coaptation lead to mitral regurgitation. Typically mid to late systolic and infralaterally oriented. If there is a presence of the central or anterior directed jet, it may be due to intrinsic mitral valve abnormality. It is not related to the HOCM. The base 2D view for alveotic gradient is apical 3-chamber, and alveotic jet is narrower than the mitral regurgitation. Doppler echocardiography. The dynamic alveolar obstruction is high velocity, Draeger shape the gradient, and the normal index LA volume would be 22 plus or minus. This is the normal, but in cases of the HOCM, the LA would be dilated. It would be more than 36 ml per meter square. And the more the LVH is there, or the more the dash-wide dysfunction is there, would be lead to more greater enlargement of the LA. The tissue Doppler imaging in the echo. The tissue Doppler imaging shows the abnormally low annular velocities. The normal annular velocities is around 14 to 15 cm per centimeter per second, but in this HOCM it is less than 9 centimeter per second. This is the mean, it's mean of the anterior and the lateral. If we are isolate, means in cases of the isolated anterior mitral leaflet, anterior annulus, it will be less than 10 and isolated lateral will be less than 7. Suggestive of the pathological LVH and the diastolic dysfunction. There is a comparison of the athletic heart versus hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Athletic are also showing the concentric LVH. HCM could be asymmetric, but the athletic heart could be concentric. Wall thickness is always more than 50. It is less than 15 mm. The left atrium, here we can see the left atrium enlargement will be more significant in HCM, but it could not be found. We are not able to find the left atrial enlargement in athletic heart. The LV and diastolic volume could be less due to concentric LV hypertrophy, and it could be more in athletic heart. The diastolic function always abnormal in LV, in HCM, but it is normal in athletic heart. The cardiac catheterization. Sir.
ट्रीटमेंट छोड़ी दे आप पता है चलो चले डायग्नोसिस.
Cardiac catheterization. The pull back pressure tracing or the pull back pressure tracing lead to the systolic gradient between the apex and the base. The small left ventricular cavity and hyperdynamic systolic function may lead to the catheter entrapment. While pull backing, we may not able to get the catheter back, the resulting in the falsely increase in left ventricular systolic pressure. To overcome this, we have second approach in which we have two catheters. In one is in the downstream in the aorta, and the one other is the through the IVC and the septal puncture in the LV. The ideally assessed by the simultaneous left ventricular inflow and left ventricular outflow or aortic pressure. The inflow position avoids the problem of the catheter entrapment because we are accessing through the LV. The requires transseptal approach. This is the wave. Here we can see the aortic wave, and the left ventricular pressure is 2 way above than the aorta. Here we have comparison of the aortic stenosis gradient and the HCM gradient. The peak to peak gradient is more or less similar in cases of the aortic stenosis, means peak instantaneous gradient and the peak to peak gradient. The peak instantaneous gradient is what we find in the echo or the CW, and it is correlating with the peak to peak gradient in the cases of aortic stenosis. But in cases of the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the peak to peak gradient and the instantaneous gradient is more or less same. This is also the pressure tracing. Here there is a maximum pressure in the LV apex and the decrease in the pressure in LV base. Another thing is the Bokenbrock phenomena, in which after the premature contraction or the VPCs, the increase in the contractility of the ventricle, which leads to marked increase in the degree of dynamic obstruction. Here we can see after the VPCs, we have great increase in the LV pressures or LV gradient. It is the dynamic obstruction leads to the increase in gradient, but this phenomena is not seen in the fixed obstruction. The left ventriculography, small left ventricular cavity size with hypertrophic papillary muscle. Here we can see this is the diastole frame and this is the systole. But we can appreciate there is almost no filling in the ventricular during the systole. It is the small ventricular cavity. The stress testing exercise most physiological form to provoke the alveotic gradient, and important adverse prognostic factor is decrease in blood pressure during the exercise. The cardiac MRI, it is more accurate than the echo, can detect 6% more hypertrophy. Accurate measurement of the thicknesses could be there, and it should be done in poor echo window or discrepancy between clinical findings and CG echo. Here we can show this MRI pictures the ventricular septal hypertrophy, and this is the there is only septal hypertrophy is there. The poor prognostic factor in the MRI is markedly elevated LV mass index, and the maximal wall thickness of more than 30 mm is specific, means 95% more specific for the HCM, and it is more prognostic indicator of the cardiac death, sudden cardiac death. This is recent update. Recently, we have late gadolinium enhancement is more associated with ventricular arrhythmias and progressive ventricular dilatation. At presently, according to recent update, LG late gadolinium contrast, if more or equal to 15% of the total ventricular mass, it is an indicator or supportive factor to implant the ICD. This is the recent article which is showing if the late gadolinium contrast is negative, this is the overall sudden death event. If it is more than 20%, the sudden death event increase up to the 8%. This is the this white color is the late gadolinium enhancement. Burnout HCM, 3% of the total patient manifest at the end stage or end stage systolic dysfunction, ejection fraction less than 50%. It is the progressive heart failure, often associated with the atrial fibrillation and the various pattern of the LV remodeling, wall thinning, and the cavity dilation. We may not able to find the hypertrophic myocardium in this patient. It is the diffuse transmural scarring. It is consequence of small vessel related ischemia, and progression to refractory heart failure or sudden death, it's 10% per year. Natural history and progression, the possible terminal events in cases of the HCM. So last slide. Possible terminal event in case of HCM, sudden and unexpected death, maybe due to the arrhythmia. It is more common in the younger patient. Progressive heart failure with exertional dyspnea and the functional limitation with or without obstruction. This progressive heart failure may present in the patient with the obstruction or without obstruction. It is mainly the diastolic dysfunction can lead to the progressive heart failure also if patient do not have the LVOT obstruction. The repetitive persistent permanent AF, this AF may lead to the CNS event due to the cardioembolic phenomena also. These are the main three terminal events. Now, the progression of the HCM, if it is a non-obstructive, so it may be the progress to the NYHA class 3-4 is 1.6% per year. If it is the provocable obstruction, means there is no obstruction on rest, but after exercise the obstruction is there, it is lead to the 3.6% per year. And the rest, the obstruction at rest or the LVOT gradient more than 30 mm of Hg at rest, the progression to NYHA 3 or 4 class is 7.4% per year.